The first step to boosting our practice of letting go is to remember the ugly truth that letting go is counterintuitive. You see, we have evolved to that which is integral to our survival are certain instincts. The instincts to shove some things away that we find perilous and to reach for other things that we find advantageous to our survival, no less procreation. This is the fundamental imperative of biology on this planet as we know it. And these survival instincts have served us well, and it turns out we have two reward mechanisms. The first one is dopamine oriented, and it's all about pleasure, finding pleasure in rewarding with pleasure that which supports procreation. So the act of sexual congress, as well as food, shelter, clothing, water, these things that are necessary for survival, we experience pleasure with. But the pleasure is short-lived. It's supposed to be, because if we grew satisfied, then we'd stop eating, drinking, sheltering, copulating, and that would undermine our genetic imperative. However, as you probably already know, we have a secondary reward system that's oxytocin oriented, and it rewards for cooperation, for our relationships. And these two mechanisms are often in conflict with each other. Here's a great example. Our genes want us to be promiscuous. However, our oxytocin wants us to have devoted relationships with our partner, with our children, with our pets, with our neighbors, our friends, and our kin, and our co-workers. So these are at odds, and it creates a great deal of conflict. One of the ways we resolve the conflict is through the meditative practices of letting go. So we do not let go of the presence of our survival instincts, but rather the tyranny of our survival drives. Now, some things will undermine that, and some things support that. Any student of physics will tell you we live in an interdependent universe where things affect other things, and those exact same things are themselves affected by other things. And that holds true for all circumstances, for all bodies, for all relationships, for all minds. All things, beings, and phenomena are interdependent. And that includes energy. Things affect the energy of others, and things are affected by energy, including us. The popular neuroscientist Sam Harris said that grandma might speak English, but if she has a stroke, she might lose the ability to speak English. And so we see there's a direct relationship between our body and our mind. Mind isn't just floating around the stratosphere somewhere with angelic wings plicking on a harp. It's affected directly by our brain, which is affected directly by our body. Those of us who fancy neuroscience are very enthusiastic about electromagnetism, for it is electromagnetism that helps our imaging devices do their job. And so it is undeniable the effect that, well, let's take it a step further. Tests have shown that certain very intense electromagnetic fields can inhibit the motor cortex or the ability to speak. So we've proven that energy affects the brain, which affects the mind. Now, it's just a question of subtlety. If it's true for macro currents, could it be true for micro currents? And some researchers feel that it is, and they feel that they've gathered evidence and peer reviewed that evidence that it is. That is out of my depth as a simple meditation teacher and a sci-fi geek. Um, but as one who has a shit ton of physical disabilities, um, I've been experimenting with energy work. Whew, gosh, since the 80s. Since the 80s. And one of the things that drew me to Tibetan Buddhism was the promise of blending philosophy and meditation and energy work. And I found that there's two ways that energy work is practiced in the Tibetan tradition, either overtly through visualization or breath work or postures, or indirectly. And ironically, some of the most powerful energy techniques I've stumbled across are indirect. Now, that was a real affront. That was a real insult to my pride, to my controlling tendencies. But I experimented and found that the stuff I'm going to share with you is easy and effective. It works best if we use it, pretend that it's not a literal practice, but a figurative practice. I should say the verbiage is not literal, the verbiage is figurative. Now, without further ado, here's the technique. It's known as calling the Lama from afar. In English, in Tibet, it's known as Lama Kyenno. And superstitiously, well, so I'll just read to you the words. Homage, O Lama, please come to this crown, O infallible constant protector, who knows all Dharma things. So if we take this literally, our teacher of flesh, blood, and bone will transform into energy and light, or light is energy, will transform into coarse energy, coalesce to be about the size of a thumbnail, and either sit upon the crown of your head or hover above it about a forearm's length. And one will feel safe that way. Now, that's a very childish, literalist point of view. What I found is this. Words affect intention. Intention affects energy. Energy affects the mind. The mind affects the body. This is more than just something, a litany to memorize or believe. These are observations I found in the laboratory of my own body and mind over more than 30 years of experimentation. So we can look at it this way. Lama doesn't have to be your literal teacher of flesh, blood, and bone. It could be learning, whether it's direct learning or whether it's learning by example, any form of learning. Come to this crown. Well, that refers to the crown of our head. It refers to our scalp. It refers to the part of our brain that, the part of our head known as a fontanelle, or the soft spot on an infant's head. So a teacher is supposed to be a protector. That's supposed to be a tyrant. It's supposed to be a helper. Another synonym for teacher is spiritual friend. Someone who looks out for you, someone who has your back. So this can be taken literally, and it would serve a patriarchal agenda. But if taken figuratively, it can serve a matriarchal agenda, which I get excited about. So we will chant this in a few minutes from now. We'll come back to this. So energy work is great, but it's no substitute for meditation. There are many synonyms for meditation. One of them is Mahasandhi, or great meditation. So we're going to be, mindfulness is a pair of techniques. It can, first half is mindfulness, the second half is meditation. So let's begin with mindfulness. Every time we inhale, and by the way, this is Friday, so this is Luke Skywalker Day. That's why we have the watermark. So everyone knows this is meditate like a Jedi. Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, we access our sympathetic nervous system, ensconced within the thoracic region of our spinal cord. And it evolved not to support active concentration, but instead to help us perceive, and to do so vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. As is exemplified by inhalation's 12-syllable recitation, perceiving this very turbulent play of mind. Now, there's some people prancing about the countryside. Some are malicious, many are just lazy-minded, who insist that a monkey mind is a bad thing. But I would disagree. The first enlightenment factor is not concentration, it's mindfulness. It's noticing what's going on. One only has to read the Anapanasati Sutta to understand that the mind notices all manner of things. It notices the circumstantial, the physical, the interpersonal, the mental, and to a great degree of minutia. And the 16 slogans of the Anapanasati Sutta make it very clear that our mind notices a myriad of things, and we are not to fight that, but to cooperate with it. So what are some of the antics of mind? Well, due to its sensory organs, mind can see, hear, feel, taste, smell, and the like. Internally, mind can emote, intend, reason, remember, and imagine. So we got all this stuff going on. We're able to notice the external, the internal, the physical, the mental, the pleasurable, the painful, the interesting, the boring, the glorious, and the grotesque. How do we cope with that? And the answer for that, the one-word answer for that, the cryptic answer for that is meditation. Now, how do we do that? Simple. Every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we access the parasympathetic nervous system, stored within both the lumbar region as well as the cervical regions of our spinal cord. It evolved to support our physical relaxation as well as our mental release. And it is best typified by the 12-syllable phrase, exhalation's 12-syllable recitation, relaxing into mind's non-graspable nature. This often lends itself to some confusion, so I'd like to clear things up. Those who are prone to rigidity and fear and controlling tendencies tend to take a primarily literalist view of the world around them. However, in 4th grade, we should have been taught of figurative statements. Some are similes, some are metaphors, some are hyperbolic. So we're using non-graspability here as a metaphor. Therefore, we don't need to spend time with rigid superstition and blind faith, or exhausting ourselves with pseudo-intellectual efforts to prove that everything is actually non-graspable. That path leads to madness. Remember, the Buddha taught that full enlightenment can be accomplished in a week. Therefore, a PhD is not required to master the Buddha's teachings. Think of it this way. Every time we physically relax during our inhalation, every time we physically relax during our exhalation, whatever we noticed during the previous inhalation can now feel as if it was as non-graspable as a vast empty void. It could feel, and this is the key to Buddhism's most notorious metaphors, the metaphor of emptiness, selflessness, birthlessness, deathlessness, and the like. And there you have it. We are now ready to start our active practice. Before we do, however, let's take 40 seconds for housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I worked full-time at studying, practicing, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of Buddhism so that you won't have to. I play the Yoda to your Luke Skywalker so that you can quickly and easily become the person that your dog already thinks you are. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers, just like you. And that's the wrong button. Let's hit button number 14. There we go. I don't think that's the right button. I think there's been a boo-boo. Let's see if I can fix that. Let's see, supplements. And there we go. We're going to begin by chanting the calling the Lama from afar, just like we explored during the opening lesson. Let's do this 3 times. We're going to implement the bookend chant. O Majo Lama, please come to this crowd. O infallible, constant protector who knows all Dharma things. O Majo Lama, please come to this crown. O infallible, constant protector who knows all Dharma things. O Majo Lama, please come to this crown. O infallible, constant protector who knows all Dharma things. And now for the next 9 or 12 breaths, let's play with this 12-syllable exercise. Together, let us meditate as transformatively as Yoda on Dagobah under the guidance of Yoda. Remember as a kid trying to learn how to ride a bike? Most of our secondary caregivers bolted on 2 training wheels. Well, metaphorically speaking, right now let's remove the first of 2 training wheels by transitioning from a 12-syllable meditation to a 3-syllable meditation after we perform the following chant. Now this is weird. Give me a second here. Okay, well, that's odd. Oh, that's what happened. Okay, I see what's going on. Okay, let's hit cut. Let's hit copy. It said paste. Come on now. What's going on? What's going on? Let's see. Here we go. Okay. Let us contemplate our precious human life, the key to gratitude. It is extremely difficult to find such freedom and opportunities as we have. It is extremely difficult to find such freedom and opportunities as we have. It is extremely difficult to find such freedom and opportunities as we have. In preparation for the removal of the second of two training wheels, where we will replace the 3-syllable exercise with a 1-syllable exercise, we're going to perform another chant. Okay, here we go. We're going to contemplate impermanence, the key to the wisdom of letting go. Being impermanent, everyone who is born will die. Being impermanent, everyone who is born will die. Being impermanent, everyone who was born will die. We come now to interdependence, the key to loving kindness. Whoops, here we go. The results of our virtuous and harmful actions are inevitable. The results of our virtuous and harmful actions are inevitable. The results of our virtuous and harmful actions are inevitable. If at any welcome to this morning's live stream. If at any point you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or how to apply them to your life, do not hesitate. Immediately type your question in great detail in the chat window. We're going to contemplate stress as the key to compassion. The three realms we experience as samsara are like an ocean of suffering. The three realms we experience as samsara are like an ocean of suffering. The three realms we experience as samsara are like an ocean of suffering. This is no surprise when we notice the rise of fascism in the world and multiple genocides running concurrently on multiple continents. Remembering this, may my mind turn toward Dharma. Remembering this, may my mind turn toward Dharma. Remembering this, may my mind turn toward Dharma. We now train in, well, this might be more fun if I did this. Let's see. What if I hit this and this? Let's train in right enthusiasm, sixfold of the eightfold path that of by taking refuge. From now until I reach the very heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in the Lama who embodies the three jewels. From now until I reach the very heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in the Lama who embodies the three jewels. From now until I reach the very heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in the Lama who embodies the three jewels. We now explore right intentions, second fold of the eightfold path, which we explore by generating bodhicitta, or the conventional mindset of enlightenment. From now until samsara is emptied, I will bring about benefit and happiness for all beings who have been my mothers. From now until samsara is emptied, may I bring about benefit and happiness for all beings who have been my mothers. From now until samsara is emptied, may I bring about benefit and happiness for all beings who have been my mothers. To perfect the two accumulate. That might be a good idea. Un momento, s'il vous plaît. Let's go over here. Copy. Paste. To perfect the two accumulations, I offer the body's wealth and splendor of all my lives to the three jewels. To perfect the two accumulations, I offer the body's wealth and splendor of all my lives to the three jewels. To perfect the two accumulations, I offer the body's wealth and splendor of all my lives to the three jewels. We are going to play with Tokal, the first set of Tantra's figurative explanation, contemplations. Together. Dorje Sampa, inseparable from my Lama, is above the crown of my head. Nectar flows from him, purifying my obscurations. Vajra Sattva. Dorje Sampa, inseparable from my Lama, is above the crown of my head. Nectar flows from him, purifying my obscurations. Vajra Sattva. Dorje Sampa, inseparable from my Lama, is above the crown of my head. Nectar flows from him, purifying my obscurations. Vajra Sattva. It's been my experience that the ultimate purification is the wisdom of letting go. Therefore, let us chant. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever we noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as not graspable as a vast empty void. Like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although compelling to the eye, is not graspable to the hand. Let's leapfrog over circumstantial clinging. We're going to begin by chanting a rhetorical question, an extensive rhetorical question. How is it that as we inhale, all circumstances, our lots could appear quite vivid? Yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined paradise or vati of light. Well, that's weird. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3. Let's hit Ariel. Let's hit the doodads. So after chanting the extensive rhetorical question, we're now going to silently and mentally recite the concise rhetorical question during our inhalation. And then going to relax as best we can as we chant the mantra during our exhalation. Om Vajra Sattva, Om Vajra Sattva, Om Vajra Sattva, Om Vajra Sattva. Om Vajra Sattva, Om Vajra Sattva, Om Vajra Sattva, Om Vajra Sattva. Om Vajra Sattva, Om Vajra Sattva, Om Vajra Sattva, Om Vajra Sattva. Om Vajra Sattva, Om Vajra Sattva, Om Vajra Sattva, Om Vajra Sattva. Welcome to this morning's live stream. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or how to apply them, type your question in great detail in the chat window. As we inhale, we can practice perception, vulnerable, passive, visceral, and random, as silently and mentally we recite the demonstrative pronoun this. During each exhalation, we can physically relax and mentally release, as silently and mentally we recite the one-syllable verb ease. We now play with the second division's leapfrog over physical clinging. How is it that as we inhale, all bodies or forms could feel quite sensual? Yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined archetype or yidam of light. So yidam is just a Tibetan word that could be translated into English as archetype. As we inhale, we could silently and mentally recite the concise rhetorical question. And as we relax into our exhalation, we can chant this 6-syllable mantra. Om Vajra Sattva, 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 We come to the third visions, leapfrog over our tendencies to cling to the interpersonal. We all have these tendencies. How is it that as we inhale the interpersonal experience of communication, all speech could be quite resounding? Yet as we relax into our exhalation, it could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined mantra of light. Om Vajra Sattva, 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 We come to the fourth vision's leapfrog over mental clinging. How is it that as we inhale, we could perceive all mind's functions quite clearly? Yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined considerable hum of light. Om Vajra Sarva 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 Dissolving into light, diamond, mind, mother and father blend with me an experience of oneness. Dissolving into light, diamond, mind, mother and father blend with me an experience of oneness. Dissolving into light, diamond, mind, mother and father blend with me an experience of oneness. Hmm. I am like Dorje Naltor in the sky in front of me. My rude Lama appears in the form of Padmakata. Embodiment of all Buddhas of the three times most excellent rude Lama, I pray to you. Hold me with your compassion in this and future lives, and in the broader bless me always throughout the three times. Un momento, if you please. I'm just trying to synchronize the artwork. Now, this brings us to Tokal's second set of Tantra's figurative contemplations. Sadly, the majority well, what's it called? Sturgeon's Law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks. And so it should not surprise us that the majority of teachers and the majority of students take a literal approach, interpret metaphors literally, and squander years concentrating on visualizations instead of contemplating metaphors of love and letting go. So we've worked with leaping over clinging. Now we're going to leap over competition. May all circumstances or lots of all beings now have their safety, good fortune, or boon. As a Buddha's real or imagined paradise, pure land of Avanti. One moment, if you please. Okay. Om Ahung. Okay. Dude, come on. Don't be that way. Okay. Okay. Mahum Vajraguru Mamaziri 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 Mahum Vajraguru Manmaziri 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 Now let us leap over our tendencies to be physically competitive, and instead let's cooperate by wishing others well. May all bodies of all beings now enjoy the beautiful health depicted in Buddhist art of the blissful body of a yidam of lower and octave of enlightenment. Well, that's weird. Huh, that should have been green. What was I thinking? Mahum Varaguru Mamaziri 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 Om Vajra Guru Manmaziri Om Vajra Guru Manmaziri Om Vajra Guru Manmaziri Om Vajra Guru Manmaziri Remember, the moment you have a question about meditation, philosophy, or application, type it in the chat window. May all relationships of all beings now be as loving and joyful as a real or imagined Buddhist communication symbolized by this 12-syllable mantra. Om Ahum Vajra Guru Manmaziri 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 May all minds of all beings now be as wise and peaceful as the mind of a Buddha of law symbolized by a one-syllable seed bija mantra or tea clay drop. Om Vajra Guru Manmazeri 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 May I receive all the blessings and empowerments of enlightened from speech and mind. Okay, so we're going to play games with our hands. Let's start by setting our hands upon the crown of our head. Benza Guru Kaya Wakatita Siddhi Hum. Now let's fold our hands and rest them in our lap. Om Benza Guru Kaya Wakatita Siddhi Hum. Let's suspend our palms before our throat. Benza Guru Kaya Wakatita Siddhi Hum. Let's touch our palm to our navel and place other palm upon the first. Benzo Guru Kaya Wakatita Siddhi Hum. And fifthly, let's place our palms before our heart. Benzo Guru Kaya Wakatita Siddhi Hum. The Lama dissolves into light and blends with me in all inseparability. I behold the true face of the ultimate Lama, the union of intrinsic awareness and emptiness. Okay, place your hands over your head, please. I pray to the protector, Amitabha, bless me that I may master the profound path of Pawape. I pray to the protector, Amitabha, bless me that I may master the profound path of Pawape. I pray to the protector, Amitabha, that bless me that I may master the profound path of Pawape. Oh boy, let's I now give my body, so palms in front of your heart. I now give my body, wealth, and virtuous qualities wholeheartedly to all beings who have been my mothers. I now give my body, wealth, and virtuous qualities wholeheartedly to all beings who have been my mothers. I now give my body, wealth, and virtuous qualities wholeheartedly to all beings who have been my mothers. Let us seal this morning's practice with a bit of the old loving chant. Without hindrance may I ensure enormous benefit for all beings. Without hindrance may I ensure enormous benefit for all beings. Without hindrance may I ensure enormous benefit for all beings. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 10 1/3 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, this is the way.